Swadikap, good morning and thank you for joining us on Newsline. We're broadcasting live on NBT, Radio Thailand FM 88 and NBT World. Today is Tuesday, March 29th. My name is Surabhalao Tharanarit. Welcome to today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward. In our first story, the Prime Minister has met with U.S. Undersecretary for Civilian Security, Democracy and Human Rights, Sarah Sewell, as part of her official visit to Thailand. Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha reportedly welcomed the Undersecretary and remarked that Thailand and the United States maintaining high-level relations was a good sign that they would continue to cooperate for mutual benefit. He reminded Ms. Sewell that Thailand and the U.S. have had diplomatic ties for 182 years and have maintained many strategic partnerships that are important for the Southeast Asian region. Ms. Sewell assured the Premier that the U.S. acknowledges the importance of its relations with Thailand in all dimensions and is ready to support its return to democracy. She commended the nation for its work in remedying human trafficking and noted the diligent work of authorities whom she visited over the weekend. General Prayut gave the Undersecretary further information on Thailand's efforts, stating that all of its work against human trafficking was done with the public's interests in mind. He spoke of encouraging a respect for the law in Thailand, while assuring he wants to allow for all opinions and viewpoints to be heard. Discussing joint work with the U.S. on aiding migrants, Ms. Sewell said Thailand has an important role to play in working with the UNHCR to handle irregular migration and refugees. The two sides also discussed the matter of illegal, unreported, and unregulated or IUU fishing, with the Prime Minister stating that his government is seeking sustainable solutions, and the U.S. representative affirming her country's understanding and support on the matter. General Prayut stated that his administration has made good progress in its fight against corruption in accordance with its roadmap, and thanked U.S. President Barack Obama for his encouragement of the kingdom's reforms. Ms. Sewell ended her meeting by saying that President Obama is looking forward to meeting General Prayut again at the Nuclear Security Summit taking place in Washington, D.C. this March 31st to April 1st. The Deputy Prime Minister for Security Affairs has revealed that the latest Defense Council meeting reviewed monthly reports, with the only special agenda being preliminary discussions of the 20-year military reform plan. Deputy Prime Minister and Defense Minister General Prawit Wongsuwan chaired the latest Defense Council meeting at the office of the Permanent Secretary for Defense. He disclosed that the meeting did not have any special agendas and was mostly focused on hearing monthly reports from the various armed forces. He mentioned, however, that top brass attending the conference also discussed the 20-year military reform plan with a focus on utilization of funds. When asked about possible calls to raise the retirement age of civil servants to 65, General Prawit said that he has not received any details on the matter yet, but that such a change would require time and legal amendments. Deputy Prime Minister Wisanu Kruangam has recently visited the National Broadcasting Services of Thailand, or NBT, television station on Vipavadi Rangsit Road and explained the government's Prd scheme. The Deputy Prime Minister said that the plan is comparable to a public-private partnership, or PPP, government service, or private business venture that is funded and operated through a partnership of the government and one or more private companies. He then explained the objectives of the Prd scheme.
But in Thailand, we have one term. It's a new terminology. We call it Prd, and don't try to translate it into English, because we should use Prd like in many countries, they use their local terms like Pancasila, something like that in Indonesia. Actually, Pracharat is something like a PPP, public-private partnership, which means that people and the government join hands together in order to develop the country, in the investment, in the development of the country, in proposing anything new, initiating any project in order to develop the country and solve the problems of the country, national problems, and that is Pracharat. Actually, the government emphasized very much on the economy. So this term used in the economic sector first, but now we move Pracharat concept or Pracharat philosophy to politics and to social development too, which means people or public and the government will join hands in the development and solving national problems. And that is the main philosophy behind Pracharat.
Dr. Wisanu then gave a few examples of the ongoing Pracharat projects, which include Pracharat housing and Pracharat education projects. The Deputy Prime Minister indicated that the scheme is part of a 20-year national strategy and can be discontinued if the public considers the scheme obsolete in the future.
Yeah, just a few days ago, the government initiated the housing Pracharat. In Thai, we call Ban Pracharat, which means that the government will invest in the land. People invest money, construction, technology. That is Ban Pracharat for social welfare. And we also have the education Pracharat. Private and public will join hands in the educational sector, teaching, education, and solving the children's problems.
Meanwhile, the Vice President of the National Legislative Assembly, or NLA, has affirmed that members of the legislature and the National Reform Steering Assembly, or NRSA, have freedom to propose any question they see fit for the public referendum on the new draft charter. NLA Vice President Surachai Liengbullerchai said that NLA and NRSA members have been informed to send in their proposed questions to the committee in charge in order for them to compile all ideas, which will be incorporated into the review of the draft charter by April 1st. Mr. Surachai said that after the deadline, the committee will screen all proposals and group them up before proposing all to the main NLA meeting on April 7th, when members of the legislature will be invited to discuss all suggested questions. Concerning the joint NLA-NRSA meeting on March 30th, Mr. Surachai said that all members will be allowed to raise questions which they need clarifications for at least 3 hours before the Constitution Drafting Commission will start presenting all key information of the draft charter. The National Reform Steering Assembly, or NRSA, has approved the report on the reform of public health and the environment. The NRSA held a meeting on Monday to deliberate the report submitted by the committee in charge of public health and the environment, which discussed the establishment of a national health office. Committee Chairman Air Chief Marshal Tirapap Senawong explained to the NRSA sitting that the report was drafted to suggest a reform process. The reforms are aimed at creating a sustainable health insurance system while allowing members of the public to receive quality and standardized services under the supervision of a National Health Policy Committee. Air Chief Marshal Tirapap explained that the committee would be tasked with formulating policies and objectives at both the local and national levels, while integrating the duties and roles of all related agencies and ensuring its efficient financing. Most NRSA members expressed support before voting 162 to none with 5 abstentions to approve the report. which will then be forwarded to the Cabinet for implementation. The Constitution Drafting Commission, or CDC, has affirmed that members of the Parliament elected under the new charter will have the power to choose a non-MP to be Prime Minister. CDC Chairman Michai Rishupan said that the charter drafters are now doing the final check on all 279 sections of the new draft constitution without plans to rewrite any key content. Mr. Michai revealed that under the new charter, the House of Representatives will have the duty to nominate 3 prime ministerial candidates. He also said that appointing a non-MP as Prime Minister would require 2/3 support from both the House of Representatives and the Senate. Mr. Michai noted that the non-MP Prime Minister would still be chosen by elected MPs. And the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives has confirmed it will not prevent the public from water play during the Songkran festival, although it will still implore the public to use water sparingly. The ministry has also given assurances that it will deliver water according to the stipulated water management policy. Meanwhile, Director General of the Irrigation Department, Suthep Noypairot, added that the country's 4 main reservoirs along the Chao Phraya River have sufficient water for consumption and sustaining ecosystems until July. Major dams will output a total of 18 million cubic meters per day. Mr. Suthep stressed the importance of economical water usage to ensure that enough water is available according to the planned forecasts and to prevent future shortages. Many people over the weekend flocked to the 37th Bangkok International Motor Show to see new car models and innovations in the automotive industry. Several new cars and clean technologies were showcased at the event. During the first 6 days of the exhibition, more than 4,500 vehicles were reserved for potential buyers. The top 3 manufacturers with the highest numbers of reservations reported were Isuzu, Honda, and Toyota. It is expected that 40,000 vehicles will have been reserved by the end of the event on April 3rd. Organizers also anticipated that car buying will remain lively this year, despite an increase in the excise tax the year before, as people showed more interest in eco-friendly vehicles. The 37th Bangkok International Motor Show is taking place at Impact Muang Thong Thani, Challenger Hall 1 to 3. The event will continue until this Sunday. And that's all for today's edition of Thailand Moves Forward. Up next in ASEAN News, the Public Relations Department has launched an English e-learning project for civil servants. But first, let's have a look at the exchange rates and commodity prices.
Thai. Created from Thai wisdom, used to be served on banana leaf, and the banana tree is used for practicing Muay Thai. Muay Thai was trained in the temples, which can be found on the mountains, in the caves, or on the water, everywhere, just like Pad Thai. There are thousands of other stories to discover. Discover your amazing stories in amazing Thailand.
ASEAN Political and Security Community. Prevent being deceived. Prevent being forced. Prevent being injured. The problem of human trafficking in children, women, and labor has been increasingly severe. Thailand and the ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights are working together to get rid of these problems in order to be fully accepted by the international community. One vision, one identity, one community.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. The Public Relations Department, or PRD, is launching an e-learning project to provide English language training for its officials in the era of the ASEAN community. The PRD, together with Thammasat University Research and Consultancy Institute, launched an e-learning project to provide English language training to PRD officials. PRD Director General Apinan Jantarangsi presided over the press conference and said that English has become important to communicating in Thailand due to the integration of the ASEAN community. This e-learning project is aimed at improving the English proficiency of public officials in terms of listening, speaking, reading, and writing.
Currently, we are now a part of the ASEAN community, where the English language is very important, especially for the Public Relations Department. The PRD's main task is to communicate not only with people in the country, but also outside Thailand, especially neighboring countries. PRD officials have to make countless trips to other provinces and countries. Therefore, the ability to speak English is necessary. The PRD has now joined hands with the Thammasat University to launch this e-learning program, and this project is initiated in line with the Prime Minister's policy.
The PRD's Region 6 office has held the first ever Neighbor-Laborers Friendship event to promote the government's policies for laborers from Thailand's neighboring countries. Workers from 3 neighboring countries joined in the event held in Songkhla province. PRD Director General Apinan Jantarangsi stated at the event that the government has made clear its intention to have all foreign laborers in the nation be legally registered. He pointed out that the event also highlighted Thailand's desire for equality regardless of nationality. Main activities included a concert by a Cambodian celebrity, singing contests, and an exhibition that sought to assure foreign laborers that they are welcome in Thailand. Sports competitions were also organized to build relations between local and foreign workers. Free haircuts were also offered for both men and women. Attendees of the Neighbor-Laborers Friendship event voiced appreciation and called for more such activities to be held to boost the morale of foreign laborers. The 26th Chumphon Marine Festival 2016 got underway on the weekend to promote local tourism in the southern province. According to Chumphon Governor Somdi Kachayangyoon, this year's festival is being held under the theme Colorful Ocean, the Door to ASEAN in the Central District. Various tourism concepts are being promoted throughout the festival, which will come to an end today. The 26th Chumphon Marine Festival features sand sculptures of 10 ASEAN landmarks and sand paintings. The event is also providing fresh seafood free of charge and barbecue gridirons. Visitors can sit on the beach while cooking themselves a seafood meal. Lighting decorations can be seen along the beach in the evening. The event has allowed visitors who enjoy affordable local products, traditional performances, as well as exhibitions on marine life, underwater photography, and ecotourism. Beach sports such as volleyball and soccer are also being held at the festival. On to the global front, the Gulshan-e-Iqbal Park in Pakistan's Lahore has remained cordoned off following a devastating suicide bombing attack on Sunday evening. As of Monday night, 72 people have been reportedly killed and nearly 300 others left injured by the attack. Lahore's Deputy Coordination Officer, Captain Usman, said that 29 children were among the victims. A Pakistan Taliban splinter group named Jamaatul Ahrar has claimed responsibility for the attack. Deputy Inspector General Haider Ashraf said the suicide bomber blew himself up at a parking stand near one of the park's gates, which was located near a children's play area and ticket booth. He said the bomber purposely chose this area to target a large number of people. Ashraf added that the park had been more crowded than usual on Sunday due to a significant number of Christians visiting to celebrate the Easter holiday. The bombing has once again exacerbated insecurities among the residents of Lahore. Though life has slowly resumed in the city, people are mindful of their vulnerability and fear the threat of further attacks in the future. Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos demanded that FARC rebels set a deadline by which they will complete their disarmament process as the two sides negotiate an end to Latin America's longest-running armed conflict. The Colombian government and FARC failed last week to meet a self-imposed March 23rd deadline to reach a comprehensive pact, citing major differences. Both sides said there were continuing negotiations, but did not set a new deadline. Both sides had recently said the deadline was unlikely to be reached, in part because of rebel security concerns and disagreements about the location of safety zones, where the fighters can hand in their weapons after a ceasefire is declared and during their transition into democratic politics. On Monday, Santos told FARC he wanted to set an intermediary deadline to wrap up the disarmament process. Any final deal would be placed before Colombian voters for approval, with a UN mission supervising rebel disarmament. The U.S. Justice Department said it successfully accessed data stored on an encrypted iPhone used by one of the San Bernardino shooters and asked the court to withdraw an order compelling Apple to assist. The technology company fought a court order obtained by the FBI last month that required it to write new software to disable passcode protection and allow access to the phone used by one of the shooters, Rizwan Farouk. U.S. officials said last week that they were hopeful they would be able to unlock the iPhone without help from Apple. In a two-page court filing on Monday, the Justice Department said the government no longer requires Apple's assistance. At issue was a county-owned iPhone used by Farouk, one of the husband and wife shooters in the San Bernardino, California shooting in December, in which 14 people were killed and 22 wounded. The couple died in a shootout with police after the rampage. And that's the end of today's edition of Newsline. If you have any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook or visit our website at thainews.prd.go.th/en. And for now, we're going to say goodbye with footage from the 2016 Kiteboarding World Championships held in El Gouna, Egypt. I'm Suraphal Lautaranarit. Thank you for your company and have a wonderful day. สวัสดีครับ